Wrapping up the show. Obviously, there's an elephant in the room, maybe giraffe in the room. Folks familiar with my episode from March, going back, where I talked about, information from an anonymous source regarding some stuff. The first item was a major institutional access point announcement. This was in March. They said that one was coming in April. That turned out to be the BlackRock news, which obviously, huge, obviously. And then, or maybe it was May. I can't remember. It was the BlackRock stuff. So that was one for two. The second one was a monster use case in quarter three. If all goes according to plan, or if all stays on track. That's the thing. And I get questions about this all the time. And I see it out there everywhere, especially on Reddit, of like quarter three monster use case. It's kind of like a meme at this point. And maybe that episode will come back to haunt me. I don't know. But obviously we are almost halfway through September. We're a couple weeks away from the end of quarter three. So I get asked the question a lot. Do you still believe this is happening according to what the source told you? And I'd encourage people to go back and listen to episode, whatever it was, 118, or I can't remember what it was. It was the last episode in March, was the episode where I talked about this. But basically, people ask me, what are your thoughts on that? Is it still happening, essentially? The quarter three monster use case. And I think the key thing there is kind of, again, as the source shared with me, and again, this source is, someone that would have visibility on this in the ecosystem, and somebody that, I definitely put the name of the show behind, right? As the show presenting this news with an anonymous source. Obviously, if you're trusting the show, you're trusting the source. And so, and I've been asked, Julie, who's the source? I'm not telling anyone who it is, or who they are. But the thing is the quarter three monster use case happening? I think the caveat there is, as they said, if everything stays on track. And so that's the tough part. I'll stand by it. The quarter three is not over yet. But the thing that fair enough. If everything stays on track, one could argue that things in the ecosystem have not been on track, right? And the definition of on track being things operating as usual. Obviously, things have not been operating as usual. There's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of leadership change. There's been a lot of controversy. So, I think that definitely, lowers the likelihood of a quarter three monster use case. Because of course, a lot of the stuff can't be predicted. It's outside of control. But I would say, one could argue that, things have not been going as planned for better or for worse, right? We've talked about what a benefit that is, right? That this stuff is happening. So it is what it is. Now, if someone were to ask me, is it still even happening? Absolutely. Do I know what exactly it is? No, that was no details were shared with me in regards to that. It was just shared to me as a monster use case. And what that would entail is something using the Hedera network that has a ton of users, or would generate a ton of revenue, or a ton of transactions, or open up a ton of access. So that's kind of how I'm qualifying it. I know it was a pretty nebulous description, but again, it's really speaking to the quality of the source. That's all I can say. But yes, I stand by that would be happening. Obviously, again, making the argument that things maybe have, from April till now, or from March until now, when the information was shared with me, maybe things you could say haven't been going according to plan. Sure. Still some time left in quarter three. We'll have to see, but I just wanted to kind of like clear the air on that a little bit. I know people ask me about that a lot. Those are my thoughts on it. And we'll just have to see. There's a likelihood that I will just be wrong and the source will be 50% right. So that happens, and definitely, doesn't speak highly of the show in that regard. And that's kind of the nature of the business. If you're going to take a leap of faith on an anonymous source, you really have to put the name of the show behind it. And so, batting 1 for 2, make of it what you will, but that's my thoughts on it. Definitely, I think that it's something like that is still in the hopper. Definitely possibility. It's quarter three, but again, you can definitely make the argument that things haven't maybe been going as planned. That'd be maybe a fair